Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel Turkish Spotlight Secrets. Today I'm bringing you a deep dive about Yağmur Yüksel and Barış Baktas. All the details are in this video. If you enjoy long-form, respectful coverage of the stories everyone is talking about, please press the like button, subscribe, and, if you want to support the channel even more, click the join button below. Thank you, and let's get into it. For months, the set of Çiçekleri has been described as focused and disciplined, a place where early call times and late-night shoots are routine and where the cast carries the show's heavy emotional beats with professionalism. That is why a brief but intense confrontation last week, said to involve Yağmur Yüksel, Barış Baktas, and the spouse of a fellow cast member, sent a shockwave through the production and ignited 1,000 theories online. What exactly happened? How did a private disagreement spill into a public talking point? And what does it mean for the show that depends on the calm collaboration of everyone behind the camera? Let's carefully reconstruct the day as multiple people close to the set describe it. It was a long shoot with high-stakes scenes scheduled back-to-back. The morning started with exterior sequences under a clear, hard sun, the kind that drains energy faster than anyone expects. After lunch, the crew moved indoors to a location apartment, the kind of space that looks large on screen but feels cramped with cameras, lights, and 50 people trying to stay out of the shot. The work was technical, the blocking precise, and the mood, while determined, had the edge that always creeps in when time and budget press against the day's goals. During a late afternoon break, a few visitors arrived, nothing unusual. Friends and family sometimes stop by to bring coffee or say hello when scenes are rolling close to home. Among the visitors, according to several onlookers, was the wife of a supporting actor who had a scene coming up. She greeted crew members, waved at familiar faces, and waited near the monitor area, where a corridor opened into the set. The atmosphere was normal, even cheerful, until a small misunderstanding escalated. What started it? Accounts differ on the details, but the spine of the story remains consistent. A comment was made, some call it a joke that landed wrong, others remember it as a protective remark about personal boundaries. Voices remained low at first. Then, as so often happens when a tense day meets a sensitive moment, tone took on a life of its own. Yağmur, who is known to address issues directly rather than let them linger, responded. Barış, who tends to mediate rather than inflame, stepped in to defuse. The visitor, feeling unheard, raised her voice. Within seconds, more people were listening than speaking, and the private became public. It is important to emphasize what did not happen. There was no physical contact. There were no threats. There was no dramatic storming out, no slammed doors, no broken props, none of the theatrical chaos that rumors love to invent. What there was, by multiple accounts, was an emotional exchange in which everyone believed they were protecting something important: respect for the workspace, respect for personal relationships, respect for time-sensitive work that cannot be repeated once the light changes. Here is a likely chain of events based on the most consistent testimonies. A crew member asked visitors to clear a narrow passage so equipment could move. The request, standard on any set, overlapped with a private conversation near the corridor's edge. Someone interpreted the instruction as a slight. Someone else replied that schedules were tight and that the cast needed quiet to reset. The visitor defended her position, pointing out that she had permission to be there. The words "this isn't the right place for this talk" entered the conversation. And from there, the misunderstanding grew. Why did it matter enough to become today's headline? Because the people at the center, Yağmur Yüksel and Barış Baktas, are the symbolic anchors of Çiçekleri. When they work, the whole machine moves. When they pause, everyone waits. Their names carry the expectations of fans, producers, and dozens of colleagues who want the day to go smoothly. That responsibility is a weight most viewers never see. On a normal day, they lift it without comment. On a hard day, even small frictions echo. As soon as voices rose, the first assistant director did exactly what experienced teams do. He called a 5-minute hold, invited the visitor and the parties involved to step away from the equipment, and asked a production coordinator to join the conversation. The coordinator's role on a set is part diplomat, part traffic controller. In a calm, low tone, she separated the topics. The immediate need to keep the space safe and quiet, and the secondary need to clear up the personal misunderstanding. She also created a boundary: no one would be blamed for asking for order during a reset. No one would be shamed for wanting to advocate for a loved one. What followed was not dramatic, but it was mature. The visitor explained that her intention had not been to disrupt work but to check on her spouse between takes. Yağmur explained that she had reacted out of concern for continuity and focus, especially in a scene that required emotional precision right after the break. Barış, staying true to his reputation, reframed the exchange as a timing issue rather than a character issue. In short, everyone needed the same thing: respect for the work and a dignified space for private life, not in competition, but in coordination. By the time the short hold ended, the temperature had cooled. The visitor chose to wait in a quieter zone set up by the coordinator, a corner with chairs and water where friends and family can relax without crowding the set. The crew reset lights, the camera operator rehearsed the move, the sound team tested the boom path, and the cast stepped back into character. If you watch the episode that includes those scenes, you might notice a familiar intensity in Yağmur's eyes and a grounded calm in Barış's posture. That is the paradox of professional storytelling. Sometimes the energy of real life, when handled responsibly, sharpens the performance rather than dulling it. Outside the studio walls, meanwhile, a different narrative took shape. A single sentence, heated argument on set, jumped from group chat to timeline without the dozens of clarifying sentences that give it meaning. Fans who love the show worried about fractures. Others, drawn to conflict, tried to assign winners and villains to a disagreement that had no such roles. In the middle stood those who understand how sets operate. They reminded everyone that high-pressure environments produce misunderstandings, and that professionalism is measured not by the absence of tension, but by how quickly and respectfully it is resolved. What does this moment tell us about the people involved? It confirms that Yağmur is the same person colleagues describe: direct, conscientious, attached to the work, and reluctant to let small problems grow into big ones. It reinforces Barış's image as steady and solution-oriented, someone who deflates a situation by naming the practical path forward. And it sheds a kindly light on the visitor at the center of the story, a spouse who cares, who felt protective, and who, when offered a clear option for support that didn't complicate the day, accepted it. The production's response deserves mention too. Instead of issuing a grand statement that would feed the fire, leadership quietly reiterated existing guidelines: visitors are welcome with prior notice, monitor areas must remain clear during resets, personal conversations should take place away from equipment paths, concerns should be directed to the coordinator, who is empowered to solve problems quickly. These are standard rules, but restating them after a close call is how healthy teams turn tension into training. Will there be any long-term fallout? Unlikely. If anything, this episode will sharpen communication channels. Expect more visible visitor zones on future shooting days, clearer signage about quiet areas, and a renewed habit of checking tone before raising volume. Expect, too, a subtle but important cultural reinforcement: this is a workplace, not a room or farm. The aim of every day is to get the scene, protect the team, and go home proud. For fans, there is a takeaway worth framing. Admiring artists means cheering their work and supporting the conditions that make it possible. Sets are orchestras, every instrument needs room to breathe. When tension briefly threw the rhythm off, the people at the heart of Çiçekleri did what professionals do: they tuned, realigned, and kept playing. That, more than any headline, is the story. If you've made it this far, thank you for valuing nuance over noise. Let me know in the comments how you think productions should balance open-door warmth with closed-set focus. Would visitor hours help? Should more shows share their set etiquette with fans to build understanding? Your thoughts shape the way we cover stories on this channel. If you liked this breakdown, please hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss an update. And if you want to support in a special way, tap the join button. Your membership helps us keep reporting with care and depth. See you in the next video. Take care, and goodbye.